maybe it's good evening, and welcome to practice today, conscious well-being. We're going to work a little bit with Uddiyana Bandha. It's one of the most important practices in yoga, and I do it very regularly in my own practice, and I also teach it pretty regularly. If you don't know it, just make sure that you're not doing anything that causes any amount of strain. So let go of all of that effort. But be a little bit experimental, be a little bit curious, and just try, just come along for the ride. It's all just an experience. Okay, so let's sit down, find a comfortable seat, something that supports you. I prefer Vajrasana. I find it to be a very supportive seat, but some people have issues with knees and ankles. So sit yourself up on blocks, or you can even sit on a chair. Let's just take a few moments just to dive in, settling in, settle down, settle back. Feel the energy that is meeting you here today. Noticing if you're kind of chasing after any one thing. Let this practice be about just letting things rise up in that space of awareness. Let yourself notice and be attentive and be kind to yourself. Let's take a moment here, gather the palms at the heart. Let's dedicate our practice. Let's send out a wish for all beings to be happy, to be safe, to be at ease, and to find freedom of suffering. And let's draw in for our Om together. Om. The eternal sound, the eternal vibration. Let that sphere of sound reverberate outward, extending beyond yourself and including all. Okay, so let's start with just a gentle breath practice to begin. Let's bring the right hand, place it on the chest, left hand on the lower belly. And let's just breathe in from top to bottom. We're going to breathe out from bottom to top. So just follow along. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Slow, easy inhale. Building the momentum of your breath slowly with a lot of attention. Consciously breathing here. Breathe down into the belly. Let the abdomen fill just gently, not forcing anything. And then exhale from the abdomen. So contracting the belly, contracting the navel back. Pulling out the air. And then keeping a little bit of that contraction as you breathe in. So this is going to allow a little bit more breath to flare through the ribs, filling out the lungs. And then at the last bit of that inhale, at the very end of the inhale, then you let go of the contraction of the belly and let the belly also join in. And then again, exhale from the belly, finding that contraction, keeping the contraction as you take your next inhale, going as slow as you need to here. Breathing in back, sides, in front of the ribs. See if you can imagine yourself breathing the lung tissue out into the inner rib cage. I really find that that visual really helps in such a deep way as I breathe. Let's do our second exhale here. Breathe in, fill up the ribs, keeping the gentle contraction. And then finally allowing the contraction to release and filling the belly. Getting a lot of ease and lengthen the breath now, and then one more exhale. Feel everything narrowing. Okay, just take just a couple natural breaths here. Just allowing what is, just sitting with what is, not framing anything mentally. Just be more interested in your breath than anything else. And maybe include that in your practice. As we go further into the physical practice, the asanas, maybe you can just be more interested in the breath, more curious about the breath. So let's explore Uddiyana Bandha a little bit. Let's take the fingertips to the side rib cage. And just take a nice deep breath in and just feel your rib cage out. Just let it flare out to the side. And feel the breath touch your thumbs in the back, your fingertips in the front. And then exhale and feel that expansion start to narrow in towards your center line. And let's do that again. So breathing in, feel back, sides, and front. Breathing out, allowing for this narrowing, this centering, this shift. And on the third, let's see if we can do that same flare of the ribs, but without taking an actual inhale. So you'll feel this internal suction of the lower belly, the inside of your abdomen almost gets sucked up into the mouth of the rib cage. So let's try that. So take a complete exhale. And then that mock inhale. Contract the belly to inhale now through the nose. You can reach your arms up if it feels good. Fingertips join, exhale, and palms to the heart. Stay for just a natural breath in. And just observe how anything changed. If that was too much effort or strain, and you just want to go back to just a normal breath. But if that was interesting for you, let's try again. Okay, so let's take the fingertips to the side ribs. Let's take an actual breath in, just to feel the flare and the suction. The positive pressure of your breath. And exhale. Feel what changes as the breath leaves. How the ribs contract and pull in. Drop the chin towards your chest and watch your chest lift and rise. And try a mock inhale this time. And now breathe in. And palms to the heart. As you breathe out, just take another settling breath in and out. And again, observe any changes, any shifts. And notice how that breath, when you hold it, that negative pressure can really kind of hold and stabilize not only the rib cage, but also the spine. And this is a practice that I did myself for physical therapy when I had a back injury, and it really helped. So just throwing that out, and if you're really interested in it, find a teacher that you can work with, maybe one-to-one, and again, revisit this video and try it a few times on yourself without kind of pulling into the effort so much, but finding the ease. Remember, we always want ease to sit alongside the effort. The effort is not so welcome sometimes, especially in a breath practice. Okay, there's always a time and a place for everything, right? So let's do one more, just for a last go. Okay, so let's take a nice deep breath in. Let's use the arms a little bit this time. Breathing in. Hold at the top. And then vigorously exhale. Lower the gaze. Can use a chin lock here. And now expand those ribs without taking an actual inhale. Come out of it. And exhale. Gather the palms back at the heart. And again, just take a moment, observe. Feel what you feel, whatever's rising up. Great, okay, a great start to practice. Let's get on the hands and knees now. We're going to work on lubricating the joints from hands and knees, and then we'll go up into a standing practice. Okay, so knees under the hips, palms under the shoulders. Let's go ahead and lift the tailbone, lift the gaze, widen the collarbones, and exhale, widen the back of the shoulders. Drop the tailbone, drop the gaze. Contract the abdomen. Let's do it again. Exhale here. And then let's just start to wag the hips from side to side a little bit. And then if you want, you can kind of connect the dots and maybe spiral the spine around and just let your body just kind of naturally do what it's kind of wanting to do here without giving it a specific job or a specific program. Just let it be. Whenever it feels good. Good, and let's just press back, get into the hips a little bit, get into the toes. You see my toes are curled under here. If I want to get in a little bit more, I'm just going to press into my palms and lift off and really get into the roots of my toes. It's also a good hip opener. All right. And then let's settle back onto hands and knees and start to find a nice neutral spine. So that's evening out the sides waist, the front and back body together. Making the trunk, the whole entire trunk, a more cohesive unit. Let's go ahead and reach the right hand forward. And you might already feel, just from that long lever of your arm, you might already feel the side of the abdomen contracting to hold that weight up into the air. And then we can add the opposite leg lifting. And we're going to hold that for 5, for 4, soft gaze, 2, and 1. Now listen carefully. We're going to work the right arm to the side, left leg to the side. Okay, this is a little bit more challenging. So if this is too challenging for you, you can go back to the forward and back position. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's just lower the foot out to the side. So we're kind of in gate pose here. And go right into a twist. The right arm up, breathe in. Open the chest, exhale, and go ahead and reach for your foot. You can hold on to the leg. You can walk your left arm a little bit further forward and lower to your right side. Temple, ear. And take a breath here. Walk the hand back for better placement to come back up. It's right under the shoulder here. And let's take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, and just press back, press the hips back a little bit. And again, you're digging right into those right toes again. Let's come forward. Walk the hands a little bit more forward. Keep the feet as they are, and then press the hips up and just kind of straighten the legs back. It's like an awkward down dog. Don't overthink it. It's just a really nice pose. You just start to circle around the hips. It just kind of brings all kinds of lubrication deep into the hip joint. This feels so especially good in the morning when you're really creaky and stiff, or at least I am. And go in both ways, both directions, 3 times. Take a nice big circle. You can bend the knee as much as you need to. Just make it feel good for yourself. Right, and press back. And stay in this awkward down dog. And now really vigorously press into your right foot in both palms and lift your left leg up. And to keep that right arm straight. And to stay here for 10 counts. Let's say we're at 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. And then just take that foot and cross it behind your right foot and just press back into this cross-legged down dog. You can lift the heels up, press the hips back, stay long through the spine, long through the back of the neck, and maybe lower the heels a little bit more. And then let's come forward and just keep that cross as you lower down. So we'll be in Gomukasana, or cow face legs here. So take a breath, lift the tailbone, widen through the collarbones, lift your gaze, and then exhale, press the hips back. So that right knee is on top of the left knee. And if this is a difficult pose for you to stay like this, just press back as much as comfortable. You'll still get a great stretch from wherever you are. So don't worry about the fact that you're not getting all the way back. If you can, sit back and just bow your head. Ease into it. Take a breath, fill up those back, sides, front ribs as much as you can. Notice where your body meets resistance and how the breath might affect that, might change it, might shift you to a better place. Notice if you tell yourself to drop out of efforting, that can also shift you. And then walk the hands back. Just take a simple seated twist here. Hugging the right leg in, and just walk your right fingertips behind you. You don't have to do much of a twist here. And just really orient your right fingertips towards the floor just to inhale a longer spine. And exhale a deeper twist. Just by degrees. You could turn the gaze to look out over the right shoulder, out into the distance. And then look forward. And then let's go ahead and sit back in our Vajrasana. And we'll go right into the first practice that we did. So just the desha, the placement of the hands. One hand to the abdomen, one hand to the chest. Let's go ahead, breathe from the top down. We'll do 3. Exhale here. Holding a bit of that contraction as you breathe in. A more effective inhale. And then let loose on the belly. And exhale. Just do 2 more on your own. Let go of that contraction. The last bit of that inhale. And then exhale. Okay, let's do the other side of the hands and knees now. So set yourself up. And again, stabilize the entire trunk, lengthening equally at both sides of the waist here. And let's go ahead and lift the left arm. Feel the abdomen start to work. Go ahead and lift the right leg. And for 5, 4, 3, steady, 2, and 1. And then let's go to the sides or stay front to back. Whatever's easy, whatever's not easier, but whatever's really working for you. And let's lower down that leg and connect the foot to the floor, the right foot now. So we're in gate pose here. So it looks like this. And then we'll just go with a twist, lifting the left arm this time. And go ahead and reach for your leg or for your foot. Walk your right arm. So it's just placed conveniently. Take a nice breath here. And then walk the right hand back as you come up. Hands are placed right under the shoulders. And let's go ahead and tilt the tailbone up. And then exhale and plug those left toes into the floor as you push the hips back. So a little bit of hip opener, and again, working on the toes. The toes and the fingers are really important. Waking everything up. All right, and as we come forward, again, we're going to lift, straighten the left leg. You can keep a little bend in the right knee. We're going to shift into that awkward down dog. And then just take 3 circles, clockwise and counterclockwise, just working through the hip. Just feel what you feel, let the experience, the sensation, just rise up and meet your attention. Doesn't have to be any labeling. This is good or this is bad. Of course, you're caring for yourself. You don't want anything that is causing pain. But you want to be curious and open-minded. This just feels great. Okay, and then we're going to just add a little bit of strengthening here. Lifting the right leg up, stay with it. Breathe nice and easy. Let the effort be there, but find the ease. And let's say that's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we want to cross that foot in front. I'll just turn towards the mat again. So again, it's a cross-legged down dog. And then come forward, land the shins, land the tops of the feet, and just flare the lower legs out to the side as best you can for our Gomukasana legs. And just press the hips back. Oh, I think we did this side, sorry. I cued the wrong leg forward, so if you didn't catch that, you'll fix it now. And then press the hips back. Left leg should be on top. Doesn't have to be so deep. Really opening up a little at a time. And then walk the hands back and we'll just go into that seated twist. Wrapping the right arm around the left leg and walking the left fingertips back. Keep the chest and the collarbones nice and broad. See if you can work the lower abdomen a little bit more vigorously on your exhales without overdoing it. Let the spine just naturally lengthen up right through the crown of the head as you inhale. Let the gaze float. Beautiful. Let's come back onto our seated pose. So if you're using your blocks, or if you want to go back to the chair, we'll do another Uddiyana Bandha. So let's use the arms. The arms really help to lift and facilitate the breath in the upper chest. So let's go ahead and breathe in. Nice full deep breath. Exhale vigorously. Fully empty here. Stay empty. Lower the gaze, lower the chin. Let that vacuum lift up. Actually breathe in and release as you breathe out. Stay for a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Just one more like that. Beautiful. All right. So let's start to work on a little bit of a standing sequence now. So let's go from child's pose here with the toes tucked. And go right into plank, shift right into plank. It can always just be a knee down plank. But notice how a knee down plank, my knees are not under my hips. They're further back. Okay, so there's structure and support from the tops of the legs all the way up the front of the body. So you're still doing quite a bit of ab work here. Or you can go ahead and lift the knees. And then let's go ahead and lift the hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. Let's go ahead back and forth, shifting from plank, exhaling to down dog. Breathing in, finding the length. Even out the support. Exhale, hips high. Shifting the hips back. Working the legs, working the arms, but trying to really divide the work up evenly between the arms and the legs. And let's go ahead and take a walk forward. You can bend your knees here if it feels good, and inhale, lengthen your spine. Pick up your belly, not letting it collapse onto the legs here. And then exhale and take a forward fold. And maybe you can create that seal between your rib cage and your thighs. Maybe you can wrap your arms. Maybe from here you can start to shift into straightening the legs, not forcing anything. And then hands to the hips. And let's hinge back all the way up to stand. Let's go ahead and take some side bends here. So reaching the arms up. Exhale to the left. Breathing into the whole right side of the rib cage, the intercostal muscles between the ribs. Let's go ahead and inhale to come up. Exhale, let's go to the right side. Keep the chest and the belly facing forward, hips facing forward. And come all the way up. Make yourself really tall. Squeeze into that center line. Big breath here. And then go ahead and exhale and take your forward fold. Bend your knees if you need a little bit more ease in the low back to get yourself down. Fold over your legs. Inhale an Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Press into the palms, step the right foot, left foot back. Plank, holding your plank. Build a plank that can hold up the world and you in it. Stay steady, find the effort along with the ease. Let them both coexist. Coming forward, lowering down. You can lower down through chaturanga or tap the knees down and then bend the elbows back. Hips land, chest lifts. Cobra. Stay here for a full breath in. Exhale, feel the resist in the low belly, lengthening the tailbone. And then let's push up and back, downward facing dog. The great balancer in this pose. What a wonderful pose to find yourself in. Go ahead, look forward, shift forward, however you like to get to the top of your mat. Extend long, exhale, fold over your legs. Hinge up to stand, breathe in. Exhale, let's fold right back down. Following the exhale out. Let's go ahead, step left foot back, right foot back, plank. Finding that strong, steady plank. Long neck. Feel the support on the front body. Feel the length in the back body. Come forward, shift forward, lower the knees. Keep shifting forward as you come down, bending the elbows. Your arms are tightly in. Land the hips, lift the chest. Cobra here. Breathe down into the belly. Shift into an up dog if you like. Toes pointed back. Opening up the dorsum of the foot. And then go ahead, let's shift back into downward facing dog. Get to the top. Inhale. Fold down, exhale. Rise up, long spine, hinge up to stand. Palms to heart. Settle in. Let's go ahead and start with the left leg in tree pose. And see how you're doing with balance today. If you can stay here, that's fine. If you want a little bit of challenge, let's go back into a high lunge. And then find the tree pose again. You could also find ballet pose. Knee forward, lower down. Right away, right side, tree. Little challenge, stepping in and out of balance. Well, we never really want to go out of balance. But we're always shifting, we're always managing. Everything is always continuously working. Maybe ballet here. Knee forward and step it down. Let's take a nice, deep, easy breath in. Take a vinyasa. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale. Get yourself back to plank or to chaturanga. Coming all the way down. Maybe right away into up dog. Exhale, hips up and back, down dog. Right leg lifts, down dog split. Push into the left foot to get the right foot to go higher. And lower, go right up with the left foot. Push down into the right foot to get the left leg higher. And lower. Let's go ahead and step the right foot forward. And let's find high lunge. Arms up. The front of the heart. Try to lower into it as much as you can. Come forward into warrior three. Shifting into the balance. Even out the side waist. Let's go back. High lunge, or you can land that back heel at an angle and find warrior one. Making sure the left hip doesn't shift back. And again, let's shift into the balance, warrior three. Ardha Chandrasana. Opening up that inner thigh, feel the stretch here. We're going to go here to a twist. So left hand comes down, but let it go back a little bit. So it's the side of your right foot as you step way back. Land on your left toes, keep the left heel lifted. Reach the right arm up, just a simple twist lunge. Just to make sure you're not crimping too much in your neck, just lower the gaze to your left fingertips. Lengthen the neck. Keep that length as you turn the gaze back up to your right thumb. Angle out the back foot. We'll come right into extended side angle. So you can use a block. Your right hand could come down on the inside or the outside. And you can also just work your arm on top of your leg if that's a better option for you. Really reinforce that left leg. Reach into the lines of this pose. Even if you don't see them, mentally feel them. Good, and let's come up. Wide legs turn to the side, and then slightly open out the feet. Let's come into a squat. Palms at the heart. Shifting side to side a little bit, opening through the hips. Lift the chest forward and up, and sink the hips down. Tailbone long. Push open from the hips and not the knees. Good, stand all the way up tall. Beautiful. Let's go to high lunge towards the back of your mat. Breathe in. Sink a little lower if you can. Hands to heart. Let's go into our first warrior three. That standing leg, strong as a column. Good. Back into your high lunge, or you can lower and angle out the back heel. Find your Virabhadrasana one, your warrior one. And let's go into our second warrior three. Any arms here? Remember, arms full out forward are the most challenging. So just be aware of that. Let's lower the left hand down, open up into our Ardha Chandrasana, our half moon. Feel the stretch, opening in the inner left groin. And then working our way into that lunge twist. Placement of the hand is important. Right beside your left foot, way back with your right foot. Land on the toes, keep the heel lifted. Let's twist to the left. See that little adjustment for the neck? Finding space in the cervical spine. Good. And then just flowing through your extended side angle, whatever modification you like. Feeling that diagonal, the extension from the right fingertips all the way down the right leg, the outer ankle. Let's come up. Let that right arm pull you up. And again, angle out the feet. Go down in your nice wide squat. Taller one. Working the hips open. Even if it's the slightest degree, right? I want you to push from the hips and not the knees. A little lower if you can. And then come up. Beautiful. Let's turn and step to the front. Let everything just kind of wash through you. Take a breath. Ease into the breath. Let go of the straining and the efforting. And just let the breath walk in. Whatever other sensations that follow that, just let them arise and subside. Just watching with that gentle attention. And let's come into a chair squat on your exhale. Big breath in and add a little bit of fun to this. You want to stay in your chair squat. That's fine. We're going to go in and out of chair or squat pose to a boat pose. So pushing the hips way down and back, lower into it. Lift the legs. Woo. Broaden through the collarbones. Back into our squat. That's the hard part. Lower down, lower down, lower down. Let the legs lift. They can stay bent. Effort and ease, coexisting. Squat. And then wind the feet a little bit apart. And let's go into Malasana. So push the front chest up as the hips and tailbone lower down. Working into the ankles. Remember to work through opening the hips, not the knees. Beautiful. And then we can work on crow pose here. So crow is, what I think of crow is I think of the kind of the staple of arm balances, right? It's kind of like the format for so many of them. So if you get this, you'll pretty much get most of the other arm balancing poses that there are. There's many of them, all shapes and sizes. So just let your weight drift a little forward and catch that forward energy in the belly to lift it. Point the toes back. Softness through the face. Lower down the right foot. Let's extend the left leg back and find Ardha Chandra Chapasana this time. You can stay with half moon here, or you can go ahead and hold. Maybe you can find a balance. Good. And then wherever you are, we're going to reach way back and find that extended side angle again. This one's going to be longer and lower, and then maybe with no arms. So we're really using the support of the core, especially your transversus, your deep core muscle. Let's lift up. Whew. And go into a side squat. Back towards the back of your mat. And then we'll turn towards the back of the mat. Step your right foot up. Sink the hips down. Push the chest, the front chest, forward and up. Feel the opening in the hips. I know I've said it before. I'll say it again. Tailbone drops down. Front chest lifts up. Beautiful. Let's try again for that crow pose. Walk your triceps down the insides of your calves. Lift your seat up and just start to shift towards that balance. So little by little, you'll get stronger. And also, it's more than strength. It's really about losing fear. You could always put a pillow down there in front of your face if you feel the need. Lift up. Remember, you're catching all of that forward energy right into the belly, deep into the belly, and that's going to lift you up like a kite. Press down the left foot, step down into it. Right leg opens back, Ardha Chandrasana. Chapasana if you like. Chapasana with no hands maybe. And then reach way back. Reach long, top arm, maybe bottom arm reaches long. Get lower, reach longer. Get lower still, and then come up, big breath, side squat to the front. Oh, breathe into it. Let go. Good, turn towards the front. Land the back knee down. Be a little bit more open. Now a little bit more lubricated, we'll go into a lower lunge. Let the right arm lift. So we did Gomukasana legs, let's do Gomukasana arms. Support the back of your skull with your top arm. And just breathe here. Letting your body just find its way. Feeling all of the digestive organs move into this back bend. That's how deep you want to feel this. One last breath. Just drink it in, absorb it. Let it pervade every cell. And then go into a little bit of a side bend just to catch your left elbow outside of your right knee, coming into a twist. Letting that left tricep slide down that leg. And you can stay on your back knee or you can go ahead and choose to lift. Getting a little deeper into the twist now. Really squeezing out. Just like a dish rag. You want to just really rinse it and squeeze it. Let's go ahead and pivot the feet. Just everything stays the same. You're just pivoting to the side. The right knee can stay bent here, or you can choose to straighten it. And then lean away from the right leg. Still in a twist. Walk the hands to the center. Breathe in. And anybody that wants to go ahead into an inversion here, just feel free to do so. You can also just use this time as a way to really extend completely through the spine. So walking your feet in a little bit, just to create a little more height for your spine to fully lengthen and dangle. Just breathing into the spaces between your vertebrae. It's just nice to hang. But feel free to get the legs up, get the hips up, energize through the sit bones as you lift into your inversion. And then we'll go to the back of the mat or the front, I forget which. Okay, coming up into the lunge. And we'll create that cow face on this side. You might notice that you're completely different on one side than the other. And, we're all a little bit, wonky that way. So just work with it. Just notice it and work with it. Be curious about it without being judgmental or condemning yourself or justifying it or creating all kinds of narrative around it. Just be with it, whatever it is. Breathe into the digestive organs. Let them completely relax and ease into this back bend. Become the shape of this back bend. Feeling them lift and move and open. Working with the breath. One more breath here. Just really drinking it in. And then go into a side stretch here, leading with the right elbow, just enough to catch it to the outside of your left leg. And then maybe sliding that tricep, the back of that arm down. Staying on the knee if you need to, or lifting it. Tacking that left hip back a little bit. Bring a little bit more organization to the hips. And then we're just going to pivot all 10 toes to the side of the mat. Left knee stays bent, or you can decide if you want to work towards straightening it. Lean away from the leg. Just really feeling like you're wringing out all of your abdominal organs. Getting a fresh rinse of blood. Detoxifying, letting all of the stuff go, all of the goop. Good, walk towards center. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale and fold. Let's go ahead and come onto the knees again. And we'll take our fist this time. And we're going to work the fists on either side of the navel. So you'll feel it under the bony prominence of your lowest rib. And not the lowest rib, but the rib that comes in towards the center. And right above the iliac crest, the hip bones, the two frontal hip bones. So your fist should fit right in there. And then let's take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, and you're just going to go forward into a forward fold. You can also use a folded blanket or a bolster, as long as it's not too thick. And then just the act of breathing will send pressure down against your fist. But you may decide that you like to massage and go a little deeper. It feels good. So just be gentle with yourself and be a little curious, but don't over effort and strain here. And of course, if you just had a big meal, which I hope you haven't, I hope you've learned that, if anything, over the course of your yoga experience. But if you have happened to have a big meal recently, then please don't do this. Refrain from this and just sit quietly. Let yourself digest. And if we want to have a little bit more fun with an arm balance, then you can have a blanket for this or a pillow, just in case there's a little bit of fear factor here. we'll try Malasana, which is peacock pose. So you get your elbows, your lower arms, really close in, really to the points, the 2 points that we were just pressing with our fists. So this is just another way to do the same thing, to accomplish the same thing. You're going to turn your fingers back. Bring the elbows right in to the side of your abdomen and contract your belly back into your arms. And then lengthen forward. So if you lengthen forward enough through your throat and point your chin forward, you might be able to lift your legs up behind you. That's kind of hard. As you see, I didn't quite do it. Easier is your legs apart. Okay, so I'll demonstrate that. I haven't done this one for a while. So you see that was a little bit milder, but still it's, the positioning of everything kind of has to be just right. So you have to work with that. And again, that's just another way of doing just what we did with the fists. So this is just a very kind of ancient posture in the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which was, I think, from almost the pre-medieval time. So it's quite ancient. Who knows how long it's been around even before that. But it's one of those kind of well-loved postures for a reason, and it's just kind of fun to do. Okay, so let's get on the back now, or actually we'll go into a forward fold. So a forward fold, meaning that one that is safe for you and your back. So just leaning a little bit forward, feel how safe it is. What does it feel like keeping your knees bent? Just angling your torso towards your legs. And maybe you get a seal happening here. You can wrap your arms underneath. Broaden your collarbones and just breathe easily here. Maybe extending the legs as you wish, if you wish. You can always sit on a cushion or a blanket here also, because that helps alleviate any strain in the low back as well. Really try to hinge from the hips. You want to activate the outer hips as you come forward. You engage your legs when they're fully down and fully straightened. And slowly come up. And then we'll go into reverse tabletop. Trying to keep the hips in line with the shoulders, in line with the knees. So squeeze the glutes. And breathe. Good. And then lower down, send the hips forward. Keep your arms back, and then open up your knees like a butterfly. Kind of helps to open up the shoulders. It's a nice hip opener. You just go side to side a little bit, and then walk the hands in a little bit more. And just push the groins forward and back, forward and back, forward and back. Good, let's come down onto the back. We'll do a last set of Uddiyana Bandha practice here from the back with the knees bent. This is really my favorite way to practice it. So we're going to inhale, lift the arms up. You can interlace the fingers and press the palms away from you. Exhale vigorously. Really hug the belly button towards the floor. Keep that. Nod the chin towards your chest. And then take that mock inhale. Flare the ribs and feel the whole lower abdomen suction up into the rib cage. And then take an inhale. And exhale and lower the arms down. For some reason, the practice on the back, because the back is supported by the floor, it feels so much better. But they all feel good. It's just this seems to me to feel more supported. Let's do that again. Let's take an inhale. Vigorously exhale all the air out. Hug and fill the back towards the floor without breathing in. Turn the chin down and take that mock inhale, reaching the arms all the way back. Breathe in when you need to. And exhale. What's beautiful about Uddiyana Bandha is you can really feel that stillness when you are there with that exhale and there's no breath there. There's no breath present. It's just complete and utter stillness. And that's the internal practice that we all at least try and evolve towards. In our outer practice, the outer leads towards the inner. So let's try that one more time. Arms lift, mock inhale at the same time. To come out, you might feel like you should kind of engage your abs again, and that's absolutely correct. You do need to re-engage your abs to come out of that so the air doesn't really kind of flood in all at once and just kind of take you overboard. So let's go ahead into bridge practice now. We're going to take the hands behind the head and interlace the hands. Let the arms just flare out. And we're just going to lift the hips up in this position. Stay on the lift for an inhale. And then exhale, turn the head towards the right a little bit. And just allow the legs to just kind of fold in, lowering down. And then let's go ahead and set it up again towards the center. Inhale. And exhale, turn the head to the right now, or gaze to the right, and then let the hips go down and out towards the left, and let the spine just kind of find its way there. Really slow, sequential, lowering down through the vertebrae. And then line it up again. Let's go ahead and change the cross of the hands. We'll do it one more time on each side. Inhale. And exhale. Turn the head towards the right and knees towards the right. Lower the hips down towards the left and shift towards center. Let's go ahead in. Turn your gaze towards the right And let the knees follow and shift the hips out towards the left and lower down through the spine. Good. Nice and slow and sequential through the vertebrae. Okay, let's go ahead and press up now. Lift the head up. Use the grip of your hands. The whole front line of your body. And then reach the arms towards your heels or towards your ankles. And then lower the head back down. Press into the shoulders and the upper arms to lift higher. You can go into full Urdhva Dhanurasana if you like. And stay here and just breathe. Chest towards the head and the hips away from the head. Walking the arms and the shoulders closer and closer. Maybe you can interlace here. One more big breath. Really lift your pelvis. Feel that stretch, that nourishing stretch. And then slowly start to lower down from the top of the spine through the mid-spine. Keeping the hands clasped underneath you. Let the sacrum, let the bottom, your seat, just land on your hands and then extend your legs. So this is just like a nice passive back bend, or you can bring the soles of the feet together and butterfly. And then lift the knees together. Release the hands down, palms face down, but your seat is still on top of the hands. And then extend your legs forward. Engage through the legs, engage through the feet, and then slide your way up. Lift up through the center of your chest. And then slide forward on your hands and lift up from fish pose. Okay. So breathing in. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Final poses here now for star pose. This is really a beautifully pacifying posture for the end of class. Just holding onto the shins. Widen through the collarbones as you lift the gaze. Breathe in. Let the tailbone lift slightly. And then exhale. And let the tailbone tuck slightly now around yourself in and towards your feet, aiming the forehead towards your heels. Look forward and then slowly follow through, coming up. And then we can do turtle pose, arms between the legs. And you can work the internal rotation of your shoulders so that the arms face back, palms up. And then walk the arms back a little bit. And then lengthen the legs out so that you're really pinning your arms and your shoulders down to the floor and underneath your legs. Flattening out your spine. Just soften wherever you are. You can work the feet closer together. And then maybe take a grasp of your hands behind your low back as well, dropping the head towards the floor. I love this calming, pacifying pose. So nourishing for the nervous system. And then come out wherever you are. And then you can take your seat for the last few minutes of practice. You can take a meditative seat if you like, or you can follow through with Shavasana. Take a full lying or reclined pose. If you're pregnant, you can lie on your side with a bolster to support. So set yourself up well. Take a few breaths just to dive into that experience now of resting the body, of settling, smoothing out the breath and any tension that you feel in the body. Noticing what's there, not discriminating, not labeling. With this practice, I really feel strongly that one of the most important goals, if there is such a thing, because really we shouldn't be so goal-oriented, but one of the shifts, maybe I'll say, that we can apply ourselves more to is the shift of having no distinction between our practice and the rest of our day, the rest of our life. That we can really distinguish between what we do on the mat and then how we do or don't carry that through the rest of our day or into our relationships or at our job and with our coworkers or whatever stuff is spilling onto our plate that day. So that maybe there can be a continuity, a certain amount of cohesion for that awareness that we bring, that allowance, that receptivity. So maybe it's not the end of one and so much the beginning of the other, but there's just the distinction has blurred somewhat. And maybe the progression, if there is such a thing of practice, is more and more about that blur. That it's just one. Everything is unified. So we can bring this holistic awareness and attention to every arena of our life and our work. You know, there's so many things that, you know, we just constantly kind of wait around for. You know, we find that in our life, we do a lot of waiting. We do a lot of expecting. We do a lot of looking for the next distraction, looking for love and craving love and acceptance and fulfillment in so many different ways on so many levels of our life. And that there's this awesome shift that instead of that craving and that seeking, that there's just being that love, being that fullness, that fulfillment for yourself and for all others. So I hope that idea was somewhat inspirational to you, something that we can apply ourselves to a little bit more and more, and that everyone benefits, not just us. And that's the beauty of being awake, of waking up to what we already are, what we already have. So I thank you for joining me today, this afternoon, whatever it is for you. And I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Namaste.